The Power, a historical novel, Neil Adam Arman. The shape of power is always the same. It is the shape of a tree, root to tip, central trunk branching and rebranching, spreading wider in ever thinner searching fingers. The shape of power is the outline of a living thing straining outward, singing its fine tendrils a little further and a little further yet. This is the shape of rivers leading to the ocean, the trickles to rivulets, the rivulets to streams, the streams to torrents, the great power gathering and gushing, becoming mightier to hurl itself into the great marine might. It is the shape that lightning forms when it strikes from heaven to earth. The forked tear in the sky becomes a pattern on flesh or on the earth. These same distinctive patterns bloom in a block of acrylic when struck with electricity. We send electric currents down orderly runs of circuits and switches, but the shape that electricity wants to take is of a living thing, a fern, a bare branch. The struck point in the center, the power seeking outward. This same shape grows within us, our inward trees of nerves and blood vessels, the central trunk and pathways dividing and redividing. The signals carried from our fingers ends to the spine, to the brain. We are electrical. The power travels within us, as it does in nature. My children, nothing has happened here that has not been in accordance with the natural law. Power travels in the same manner between people. It must be so. People form villages, villages become towns, towns bow to knee to cities, and cities to states. Orders travel from the center to the tips. Results travel from the tips to the center. The communication is constant. Oceans cannot survive without trickles, nor sit fast. Tree trunks without bottlets, nor the enthroned brain without nerve endings. As above, so below. As on the outskirts, so at the very heart. It follows that there are two ways for the nature and use of human power to change. One is that an order might issue from the palace, a command unto the people saying it is thus, but the other, the more certain, the more inevitable, is that those thousand points of light should each send a new message. When the people change, the palace cannot hold. As it is written, she cupped the lightning in her hand. She commanded it to strike. From the book of Eve. 10 years to go. Roxy. The men lock Roxy in the cupboard when they do it. What they don't know is she's been locked in that cupboard before. When she's naughty, her mom puts her there, just for a few minutes, till she calms down. Slowly, over the hours in there, she's worked the lock loose with a fingernail or a paper clip in the screws. She could have taken that lock off any time she wanted, but she didn't, because then her mom would have put a bolt on the outside. It's enough for her to know, sitting in there in the dark, that if she really wanted to, she could get out. The knowledge is as good as freedom. So that's why they think they've locked her in, safe and sound, but she still gets out. That's how she sees it. The men come at 9:30 in the evening. Roxy was supposed to have gone over to her cousin's that night. It had been arranged for weeks, but she'd given her mom lip about not getting her the right tights from Primark. So her mom said, "You're not going, you're staying in." Like Roxy cared about going to her poxy cousins anyway. When the blocks kick in the door and see her there, sulking on the sofa next to her mom, one of them goes, "Fuck, the girl's here." There are two men, one taller with a face like a rat, the other shorter, square-jawed. She doesn't know them. The short one grabs her mom by the throat. The tall one chases Roxy through the kitchen. She's almost out the back door when he grabs her thigh. She falls forward and he's got her by the waist. She's kicking and shouting, "Fuck off, let me go!" And when he puts a hand over her mouth, she bites him so hard she tastes blood. He swears, but he doesn't drop her. He carries her through the living room. The short ones pushed her mom up against the fireplace. Roxy feels it start to build in her den, though she doesn't know what it is. It's just a feeling at her fingers, ends, a prickle in her thumbs. She starts screaming. Her mom's going, "Don't you hurt my Roxy. Don't you fucking hurt her. You don't know what you're into. This is gonna come down on you like fire. You're gonna wish you was never born. Her dad's Bernie Monk. For Christ's sake." The short one laughs. "We're here with a message for her dad," as it goes. The tall one bundles Roxy into the cupboard under the stairs so fast she doesn't know it's happening until the dark is around her and the dusty sweet smell of the Hoover. Her mom starts screaming. Roxy's breathing fast. She's frightened, but she's got to get to her mom. She turns one of the screws on the lock with her fingernail. There's 1, 2, 3 twists, and it's out. A spark jumps between the metal of the screw and her hand. Static electricity. She's feeling weird, focused, like she can see with her eyes closed. Bottom screw, 1, 2, 3 twists. Her mom saying, "Please, please, don't, please." What is it? She's just a kid, she's just a child, for God's sake. One of the men laughs low. "Didn't look much like a kid to me." Her mom shrieks then. It sounds like metal in a bad engine. Roxy tries to work out where the men are in the room. One's with her mom. The other, she hears a sound to her left. Her plan is she'll come out low, get the tall one in the back of the knees, stomp his head, then it's 2 against 1. If they've got guns, they haven't shown them. Roxy's been in fights before. People say things about her and her mom and her dad. 1, 2, 3. Her mom screams again, and Roxy pulls the lock of the door and bashes it open as hard as she can. She's lucky. She's caught the tall man from behind with the door. He stumbles. He topples. She grabs his right foot as it comes up, and he goes down hard on the carpet. There's a crack, and he's bleeding from the nose. The short man has a knife pressed against her mom's neck. The blade winks at her, silver and smiling. Her mom's eyes go wide. "Run, Roxy," she says, not more than a whisper, but Roxy hears it like it was inside her head. "Run, run." Roxy doesn't run from fights at school. If you do that, they'll never stop saying, "Your mom's a slapper and your dad's a crook." Watch out, Roxy will nick your book. You've got to stomp them till they beg. You don't run. Something's happening. The blood is pounding in her ears. A prickling feeling is spreading along her back, over her shoulders, along her collarbone. It's saying, "You can do it." It's saying, "You're strong." She jumps over the prone man, groaning and pounding at his face. She's going to grab her mom's hand and get out of here. They just need to be on the street. This can't happen out there in the middle of the day. They'll find her dad. He'll sort it out. It's only a few steps. They can do it. Short man kicks Roxy's mom hard in the stomach. She doubles over in pain, falls to her knees. He swishes the knife at Roxy. Tall man groans. "Tony, remember, not the girl." Short man kicks the other in the face. Once, twice, 3 times. "Don't say my fucking name." Tall man goes quiet. His face bubbles with blood. Roxy knows she's in trouble now. Her mom's shouting, "Run, run." Roxy feels the thing like pins and needles along her arms, like needles prickles of light from her spine to her collarbone, from her throat to her elbows, wrist, to the pads of her fingers. She's glittering inside. He reaches for her with one hand. the knife in the other. She gets ready to kick him or punch him, but some instinct tells her a new thing. She grabs his wrist. She twists something quite deep inside her chest, as if she'd always known how to do it. He tries to wriggle out of her grip, but it's too late. She copied the lightning in her hand. She commanded it to strike. There is a crackling flash and a sound like a paper snapper. She can smell something a bit like a rainstorm and a bit like burning hair. The taste wailing under her tongue is of bitter oranges. The short man is on the floor now. He's making a croning, wordless cry. His hand is clenching and unclenching. There's a long red scar running up his arm from his wrist. She can see it even under the blonde hairs. It's scarlet, patterned like a fern, leaves and tendrils. Buds and branches. Her mom's mouth is open. She's staring. Her tears are still falling. Roxy tugs at her mom's arm, but she's shocked and slow, and her mouth is still saying, "Run, run." Roxy doesn't know what she's done, but she knows when you're fighting someone stronger than you and they're down, you get out. But her mom doesn't move quickly enough. Before Roxy can get her up, the short man is saying, "Oh no, you don't." He's wary, pulling himself to his feet, limping between them and the door. His one hand hangs dead by his side, but the other's holding that knife. Roxy remembers what it felt like to do the thing, whatever it was she did. She pulls her mom behind her. "What you got there, girlie?" says the man. Tony. She remembered his name to tell her that. "Got a battery?" "Get out of the way," say Roxy. "You want another taste?" Tony steps back a couple of paces, eyes her arms, looks to see if she's got anything behind her back. "You dropped it, don't ya, little girl?" She remembers the way it felt, the twist, the explosion outward. She takes a step towards Tony. He stands his ground. She takes another step. He looks to his dead hand. The fingers are still twitching. He shakes his head. "You ain't got nothing." He motions towards her with the knife. She reaches out, touches the back of his good hand, does that same twist. Nothing happens. He starts to laugh, holds the knife in his teeth, grabs her two wrists in his one hand. She tries it again. Nothing. He forces her to her knees. "Please," says her mom, quite softly. "Please, please don't." And then something hits her on the back of the head, and she's gone. When she wakes, the world is sideways. There's the hearth, just like always. Wooden trim around the fireplace. It's pushing into her eye, and her head hurts, and her mouth is mashed up into the carpet. There's the taste of blood on her teeth. Something is dripping. She closes her eyes, opens them again, and knows it's been longer than a few minutes. The street outside is quiet, the house is cold and lopsided. She feels out her body, her legs are up on a chair, her face is hanging down, pressed into the carpet and the fireplace. She tries to lever herself up, but it's too much effort. So she wriggles and lets her legs drop to the floor. It hurts when she falls, but at least she's all on one level. Memory comes back to her in quick flashes, the pain, then the source of the pain, then that thing she did, then her mom. She pushes herself up slowly, noticing as she does so that her hands are sticky and something is dripping. The carpet is sodden, thick with a red stain in a wide circle around the fireplace. There's her mom, her head lolling over the arm of the sofa, and there's a paper resting on her chest with a felt-tip drawing of a primrose. Roxy is 14. She is one of the youngest and one of the first.